Joining us today is the first and only three-time Ring of Honor World Champion, considered to be one of the biggest independent wrestlers in the world, and he has had the matches to back it up. Joining us right now is Adam Cole. Adam, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, absolutely. Pleasure to be here.
Guys like Samoa Joe, Nigel McGuinness, Bryan Danielson have all been Ring of Honor World Champions, but not three-time Ring of Honor World Champions. Your win this year at Wrestle Kingdom 11 in the Tokyo Dome made you the first three-time Ring of Honor World Champion. How does it feel to be a part of history now?
Yeah, it's pretty surreal when I go back and think about it. I mean, I've been a wrestling fan my whole life. I've been a Ring of Honor fan, for over 10 years now. So seeing the guys who have come before me and made that championship what it is, guys like you mentioned, like Samoa Joe, Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Nigel McGuinness, I mean, the list goes on and on. Everybody knows that that's a very elite list of guys who have held the championship. If you're someone who's been fortunate enough to hold the Ring of Honor championship one time, that's an amazing feat that you've accomplished. So for me to be the first guy ever to win it three times is still kind of hard for me to process as far as the fan in me. The wrestler in me, though, realizes that I have a lot more work to do, and I definitely have my work cut out for me with living up to this first ever three-time champion. But I do feel like I'm ready for it. And I do feel like that this is a really cool step for me in my career and something that I will be able to handle.
Through Ring of Honor's relationship with New Japan, you made your Japanese debut on August 10th in 2014, teaming with Michael Bennett to defeat Captain New Japan and Jushin Thunder Liger in a tag team match. What was it like to work with these Japanese legends? But more importantly, what was it like to wrestle in Japan for the first time out there?
Yeah, it was really cool. You know, I had done a fairly short tour of Japan back in 2011 or 2012 for another company called Big Japan Pro Wrestling. But everybody knows that New Japan Pro Wrestling is the number one wrestling company in Japan. So to be over there and work for them in that environment was, again, so awesome for me. The company really is big league, no question, as far as worldwide, is the number 2 wrestling organization in the world. So kind of getting my feet wet over in Japan was something I'd really wanted to do for a long time. And being able to wrestle again like a legend like Jushin Thunder Liger in the Seibu Dome in front of 20,000 people was a really cool experience for me. And I knew at that point when I went over to New Japan Pro Wrestling that company was a company that I really wanted to be a part of. I really wanted to grow in. And I'm glad that finally, now that I'm getting my chance to go over and wrestle more in Japan and continue to expand my career even over in Japan now.
Sure. Now, you joined the Bullet Club almost 1 year ago. You were also the first wrestler to join on American soil. What is it like to be a part of the hottest faction around today?
Yeah, it's pretty wild, man. There's no question that as far as me joining the Bullet Club, that for me in my career and what I've done was the most talked about thing that I've ever been involved in. I mean, Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff was just blowing up constantly because Bullet Club is such a big, impactful wrestling faction. I mean, I think at this point it's safe to say that Bullet Club is the hottest wrestling faction in the world today. I mean, you see shades of it in WWE, you see shades of it in Ring of Honor, New Japan, on the independents. You could pretty much see it anywhere in the world. If you go to a wrestling show, whether it is WWE or whether it is the smallest of small independent shows, 99% of the time there will be at least one person with a Bullet Club t-shirt on. It's something that is totally transcended, not just pro wrestling, but literally pop culture. You see people popping up all the time with the t-shirt on, and getting to be a part of that group with guys who I definitely call a lot of them personal friends, and just having the time of my life with this group has been really cool. It was something that I feel that I needed for my career at that point in time. It was a cool shake-up for me, and I think I've been a good fit so far.
But you were also the first person to join the Bullet Club without ever being in Japan or working for New Japan at that time, adding more firsts to your career. How much of a surprise was it to you when that news came that they wanted you to join? And was there any maybe hesitation on your part to join them?
Yeah, well, the first part with that second part of the question, there was zero hesitation on my part. Actually, with a lot of the members of the Bullet Club, specifically the Young Bucks. I mean, we had fantasized about me being involved in the group for years at that point. You know, the Young Bucks used to say multiple times, "Oh, you would be such a good fit with us. You would be such a good fit with Bullet Club," and I agreed. As far as me finding out about it, I was definitely shocked. I remember hearing the news that when AJ Styles, Carl Anderson, and Doc Gallows all left and went to the WWE, they really felt that Bullet Club needed some sort of shakeup. And one thing that Bullet Club has always done well is every time they bring a guy in, they always make sure that that person can be as impactful as possible and can keep the group relevant and can keep the group kind of moving forward and on fire. And again, guys like Kenny Omega, Gorillas of Destiny, the Young Bucks, those guys have been holding down Bullet Club this whole time. They're the true like warriors of this group. But again, at the same time, they realized they needed something that would shake the group up. So when I found out that New Japan was interested in bringing me on board, again, I was all for it. I was stoked. I was excited. And I was definitely thrilled that I got to do it in a place like Chicago.
Now, Manhattan Mayhem returns to the Manhattan Center's Hammerstein Ballroom on March 4th. Your opponent, Bobby Fish. For people that may not know, the place where you're going to fight him is also the place where you lost your championship at that time.
Right.
What can you tell us maybe about your opponent's odds for that night and maybe just wrestling at the Hammerstein Ballroom?
Yeah, well, me and Bobby Fish have a ton of history together, just strictly based on my history with Kyle O'Reilly, his former tag partner. Adam Cole and Red Dragon have been intertwined in some way, shape, and form for years in Ring of Honor. Again, my history with Bobby's tag partner, Kyle, goes all the way back to 2010. And for a very long time, Bobby Fish felt that he should be the guy who challenges and gains the Ring of Honor World Championship. But I always spent so much of my time dealing with Kyle O'Reilly. Now that Kyle is gone, Bobby gets all this attention on himself in a big match situation with the light shining on bright in a building where I've had historic, memorable pro wrestling matches. I've retained championships there. I've lost championships there. I've bled buckets there. I've done it all in the Hammerstein Ballroom. So there's nothing that makes me feel unprepared going into this matchup because I've been and dealt with it all in the Hammerstein Ballroom. Bobby Fish is in new territory. Bobby Fish has never challenged for the Ring of Honor World Championship in the Hammerstein Ballroom. Bobby Fish is a great pro wrestler, but we'll see if he's a good main event, high pressure pro wrestler at the Hammerstein Ballroom against me. Again, just starting my third reign as Ring of Honor World Champion. So I'm sure it'll be a fight. I'm just like all my fights with Kyle O'Reilly, you can expect a lot of the same with me and Bobby Fish. But just like the result, 99% of the time, I can assure you I'm going to walk out of the Hammerstein Ballroom still the Ring of Honor World Champion.
You know, the Hammerstein Ballroom has had a lot of wrestling history in it. When you think of New York City, besides MSG, is it safe to say that the Hammerstein Ballroom is probably the place to wrestle at, or at least the home away from home for Ring of Honor in New York City?
I think so. I think if I were to name my favorite building in wrestling, and I've gotten to wrestle in the Tokyo Dome, I wrestled for Pro Wrestling Guerrilla in Reseda, I wrestled in Korakuen Hall, I've wrestled in a lot of really, really cool buildings, but there's something just extra special about being in a place with so much history. You walk outside and a block down the road is Madison Square Garden. New York has always had such a very special feeling for pro wrestling. It's a combination of the matches that have been held there, the passionate, diehard fans that are there. And for me specifically, like a lot of my most memorable moments for me and Adam Cole's career have happened in New York, specifically in the Hammerstein Ballroom. So there is just an extra special feel to it, no matter who my opponent is that night, no matter what wrestling organization it's for. It certainly has become not only a home for me, but a home for Ring of Honor and a home for true pro wrestling fans. So there's no question in my mind or anyone else's mind that it's going to be a really special night for everybody involved.
Definitely. Now, Kevin Owens always praises you in every interview I hear him on, and especially we can go back to that infamous picture of you and him holding the World Championships for WWE and for Ring of Honor. Do you guys have a strong relationship outside of wrestling too?
We do. I 100% would consider him a very close, personal best friend. He's a guy that I talk to every single day. I try to make sure we stay in contact as much as possible. Obviously, with his extremely busy schedule and my busy schedule, we don't talk as much as we would like to. But if we can speak, even if it's through a text message or whatever it is, we always try to stay in touch. Me and Kevin's bond kind of started because Kevin kind of took me under his wing. He was a guy that really, really helped the development of my character and me finding myself and me just growing as a pro wrestler. He was a guy that had a ton of confidence in me before I even had confidence in myself. And again, he was just a guy that was always there for me every step of the way, all the ups and downs, winning championships or sitting out with surgery and being depressed and bummed out that I couldn't get in the ring. Kevin's been a guy that's always been there. So it's cool for me not to just see Kevin as a great pro wrestler that he is, but to see him as my friend succeeding the way that he is. It's pretty awesome. So having his support means the world to me, and he'll always have mine.
Now, there's a story I love that you told to Crave Online about Kevin picking out your theme music. Would you mind telling us, the fans out here who may not have heard that story briefly, can you tell them a little bit about how that happened?
Sure, of course. Yeah, well, this was the first time that I won the Ring of Honor World Championship. It was in Philadelphia. I was a 23-year-old kid, and I was transitioning into this heel persona that I'm known for today with the Adam Cole Bebes and stuff like that. So obviously, with it being a big transition, not only did my appearance change and my demeanor changed, but also the important wrestling theme music needed to change. So I had a theme song picked out for me. I thought it sounded perfectly fine. And when I got to the building that day, Kevin approached me and said, "Hey, what's your new entrance music?" And I said, "Oh, they got it picked out for me." He wanted to hear it. So I made sure to let him listen to it. And Kevin hated the song. He said, "This doesn't fit you at all. This doesn't fit at all what you're going for. You can't come out to this. There's absolutely no way that you can debut as the new champion to this theme song." And I said, "Well, Kevin, I don't know what I'm supposed to do." I said, "This is the new song that we have picked out. I don't know how to fix the problem." And Kevin just stopped everything that he did and walked out into the building. And Kevin was on a laptop with different theme songs that were possibilities for over an hour, just listening to all these different songs as I'm preparing for that day. And Kevin had 3 songs picked out, including the original one that he didn't like at all. And Kevin pulled each and every person in the locker room and made them sit there and watch me walk out through the curtain. Nobody there, just the wrestlers, made me walk out through the curtain to these 3 different entrance songs. And the one that he liked the best and the one that everybody agreed with is the current song that I use, "Something for You," which is, again, crazy because a lot of people say that it's one of their favorite wrestling theme songs that there is. So for anyone who does like my theme song or does think it's cool and catchy and fits Adam Cole, Kevin Owens gets complete 100% full credit because it was because of him being very insistent on me coming out to a different theme song that ended up working out.
That's a great story. I love hearing that. Now, you said also you're not big on wearing T-shirts that involve yourself when you're back home, that you'll probably see yourself in a Dalton Castle T-shirt or a Young Bucks T-shirt before we see yourself in your own T-shirt. But what about matches? Do you ever rewatch your matches, or is it just you already lived it, you don't want to live through it again, or I don't know?
Yeah, it's all circumstantial, but I mean, I think if I were to look at this objectively, I think you're absolutely right. I think there's a ton of pros to going back and watching your work because there's always a million different things you can find or ideas that can spark or inspiration that you have when you go back and watch your wrestling matches as a pro wrestler. But again, for me, it's very circumstantial. When I first started, I used to watch every single match that I had, and I'd watch it back 2 or 3 times. And I would find, 10 things that I was like, oh, I want to change this, or, oh, I should keep doing this. This looked good. And I used to obsess over it and watch every little step that I did. Now for me, again, it totally varies. Lots of times, if I have a match that I really enjoyed live, I never want to watch it back because in my brain, it being as special as it was or as cool as it felt, I don't want to watch it and then lose that feeling because I find things that I wasn't happy with.
Sure.
But the unfortunate reality is if you want to continue to get better and improve, you do need to go back and watch what you do, because like they say that, you're your own worst critic. So I'm certainly my own worst critic, and I'll go back and find things that I liked and didn't like. So again, I try to still be cautious and aware of going back and watching my own work, but there are 100% times where I'll have a match that I'm proud of or have a match that I'm happy with, and I'll choose not to watch that one. So I on purpose don't find things that I didn't like, just so I can remember it as I performed it live.
Ring of Honor is coming up on its 15th anniversary. You've been a part of them for a long time now. What are your thoughts on 15 years for Ring of Honor, and maybe what do you think the future holds for them?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I don't think anybody expected Ring of Honor of 15 years ago to kind of take off the way that it's taken off. A lot of people compare it to the new age ECW as far as influence goes in pro wrestling, and I certainly think that's the case. When you think back to Ring of Honor just being the best guys from all over the independents, and in some cases all over the world, collectively coming together to wrestle in front of these small but passionate wrestling fans. Not only the fans, but the wrestlers and the company itself had a vision for what Ring of Honor was trying to project. And to just see the influence that the company has made. I mean, when you look at it really for what it is, Ring of Honor is a company where people can go to work and go make a great living as a pro wrestler for a place besides WWE. But even bigger than that, Ring of Honor has really influenced the current state of pro wrestling that we're in. I really feel this way. I feel like when you look at main events all across the country, from all different types of wrestling promotions, you'll find lots of either Ring of Honor guys or Ring of Honor inspired pro wrestling. The art of what we do and the art that we all fell in love with, the style of pro wrestling that Ring of Honor is, I think now is at the forefront more so than ever. So to see not only how far we've come as a company, but really the overall influence that Ring of Honor has made on the wrestling scene as a whole is really cool and really rewarding. As far as where we're going, God, I can only imagine where we're going. Like I said, I don't think anyone expected Ring of Honor to be where it's at now, and we've grown so much. So now the confidence that this group has, the faith that the fans have in us, there's no question that Ring of Honor 2, 3, 5, 10 years from now is going to be healthier, better, more influential than ever. And I'm really excited to grow with them and really excited to see where Ring of Honor goes.
Great. And just lastly, too, I got two questions from fans for you. Louis Gennario says, how do you feel about your matchup coming up with Dalton Castle at the Supercard of Honor? And do you believe that you two will have potential to have the match of the weekend and make more noise than the WWE shows that are happening that weekend, too?
I certainly think that's possible. I mean, the card is really, really stacking up for us WrestleMania weekend. Those shows specifically are always such a good time because, again, you have fans literally from all over the world who are in town for WrestleMania. So Ring of Honor is very aware of that. And even last year, for example, we had a bunch of new people who came to check out Ring of Honor because they had heard a lot about ROH and they wanted to come see the show. And then we created brand new Ring of Honor fans from that weekend. So it's going to be the same deal and the same process here. Specifically with me and Dalton Castle. Dalton Castle is one of the quickest rising stars in Ring of Honor. He's a guy who is totally ready for the main event scene. He's a lot more than just a character. He's a great wrestler too. So the combination of that and the factors that play into that will definitely create a really cool and exciting match for us with a card that is just absolutely stacked. You have the Young Bucks versus the Hardys. You have Jay Lethal versus Cody Rhodes. It's going to be a really great night for ROH.
Definitely. And one more question from Brian Bishop. He asks, if you have any say at all, do you fear that continuing to add members to the Bullet Club will tarnish its credibility and legacy like the NWO?
Well, I believe that the route that Bullet Club is going, we aren't in a position yet or a situation yet where we've tarnished the legacy whatsoever. I think some people get worried anytime change happens to something they like. They're a little timid and they're a little afraid of it. Like, here's an example: is when I joined the group, there were definitely quite a few people who said, "Oh no, this is going to tarnish the legacy. Adam Cole shouldn't be in Bullet Club. This isn't a fit." And then there were other people who felt the exact opposite way. But again, the live crowds and the audience and the people buying the T-shirts, all that support and all that love is still there. If you were to hypothetically ask if we were to add a new member of Bullet Club once a month, would it tarnish the group? I think absolutely. I think you do have to be careful of how many people that you do add to the group. But I do not feel in any way whatsoever that any of the members who have been added have hurt or tarnished us as a whole or us as a group whatsoever.
Well, Adam Cole, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be there at the Manhattan Center on March 4th for Manhattan Mayhem. Lastly, for fans listening out there, where can they find you on social media to keep up with you these days?
Sure, yeah. You can follow me on Twitter at Adam Cole Pro. I also have an Instagram, Adam Cole Pro. There's a Facebook page you can like, which is just Adam Cole, I believe. And then I also have a website, which is adamcolepro.com, that has my schedule and T-shirts and things like that, where you can find and support me that way. But yeah, and most importantly too, I believe, again, if you want to follow and support Ring of Honor, you go to rohwrestling.com, and there you can see me live. You can buy some T-shirts, or you can check out whatever you want, buy a VOD. But that's the company I wrestle for the most. So if you do want to support me in that way, that's also a great outlet for you to use as well.
Well, great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you.